Welcome to our virtual tour of Conservation Garden Park. The garden was built by Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District in 1999 to show homeowners how to save water in their landscape. Today we're going to start at the Localscapes exhibit where we teach homeowners how to have a Utah-friendly landscape. The centerpiece of the new garden expansion is the Localscapes exhibit. The Localscapes exhibit was designed to replicate a quarter-acre residential landscape, including a front yard, a backyard, and in the middle is a large pavilion that replicates the house. The idea behind this landscape was to take away some of the scale issues or interpretive issues that we had in the past with the older parts of the garden. While people loved the older parts of the garden, they had a hard time figuring out how to take what they saw here at the garden and put it into their own landscape. The first element of a localscape and the defining feature of a localscape is the central open shape, which is typically lawn, which you can see behind me. Lawn in this exhibit takes up about 20% of the landscaped area in the front yard. We're not anti-lawn, we just want to show people how to use lawn correctly and in an efficient manner. Step 2 of a localscape are gathering areas. Patios and gazebos and decks have always been popular here in Utah, but we want to make them even more popular by adding more to a landscape. Yet again, people don't know what to do if they don't have lawn in areas. Gathering areas are a great option to replace lawn and actually make it so you want to spend more time in your landscape. In the backyard of the Localscapes exhibit, we have a vegetable garden, which is a type of activity zone, which is step 3 of a localscape. Vegetable gardens are really popular here in Utah, and they're a great way for people to use their yard and, believe it or not, save a little bit of water too by removing lawn out of an area, putting in vegetable garden boxes with drip irrigation. Side yards like this one are usually forgotten areas of the landscape. People end up using lawn in this area. They don't really know why they put lawn in this area. They just don't know what else to do. But this actually presents a great opportunity to save water by putting in planting beds and step 4 of a localscape, a pathway like this. Step 5 is planting beds. It's usually the first thing that people think about when they're thinking about their landscape, but it's actually the last element of a well-designed localscape. When designed and installed correctly, planting beds can be really low maintenance when installed with mulch and drip irrigation. We're now inside the Localscapes house. It acts as the centerpiece of the exhibit, but also an outdoor classroom where we can teach homeowners the Localscapes concepts while they experience the exhibit in real life. Now that you know the 5 elements of a localscape, let's take a look at the rest of the garden where you can find examples of these elements.
Are you ready to localize your landscape? Park strip flipping is one of the most popular landscape projects in Utah with good reason, and it's also the ideal place to start your own localscapes transformation. The Park Strips exhibits here at the Conservation Garden Park makes it easy for you to see a variety of different styles, planting designs, and other ideas that you can incorporate into your own park strip to make the project easier. We have sample plans both online and available here at the garden, so flipping your strip has never been easier.
Conservation Garden Park is owned and operated by Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. And while for most people, the story of how water gets from the mountain to the tap is an underground hidden mystery, here at the garden we bring that story to the surface. And yes, some of the pipes that bring water to your home really are this big.
One of the most common questions our team is asked is whether or not they could still have lawn, and if so, what kind of lawn they ought to use. The Turf Plots exhibit at the Conservation Garden Park shows all kinds of different options based on your needs, wants, and interests. But even better, you're able to compare these types against each other while you're making decisions of what is the best option for you. At the front of each of the exhibits is a little guide that shows you how much water each of the different types of lawn requires, so you can use that when making your decision as well. You can learn all kinds of techniques to help maintain your lawn given the very different conditions that we're constantly experiencing in Utah.
While you're here at the garden, there's activities for the entire family. So make sure you take some time to come play a game of chess on our life-size chessboard, mix some compost, look for the giant ladybugs, or take a minute to play on the playground over by the Localscapes exhibit.
Every great landscape starts with a design, and every good design starts with a plan. So we're at the opening of the design loop, and there's a lot of things that you can learn here that will help you create the plan for your own yard. We're in the Survey First exhibit right now, where we talk about learning what is actually already in your landscape and the techniques that you need for that. Throughout the garden, there's signage that tells you about each exhibit and the lessons that can be learned and that are demonstrated visually within the garden. Take some time and read through the signs as you're traveling the garden, and you'll know better how to use the principles taught here to make the changes you need for your yard. We're currently in one of the vegetable garden exhibits at the Conservation Garden Park. A vegetable garden is a fantastic activity zone to include in your landscape. I mean, growing your own food is kind of about the most important thing you can grow in your yard. Here we demonstrate how to do that in a way that optimizes the use of water and makes maintenance and all of those extra chores a little less daunting. If you notice up close when you're in this exhibit, look at the irrigation in each planting bed. Each one shows a different type of drip irrigation that can be used to water your vegetable garden. Vegetable gardens should always be on their own irrigation zone so that they can be watered appropriately. The other thing to notice, the fruit trees growing along the edges. Including fruit in your landscape is great, but you want to do it in a way that makes it the least impactful. Also, as you're looking at it, notice how the trees are pruned. The trees have the canopies opened up to optimize sunlight to mature the fruit. You'll want to mimic that in your own garden and orchard.
I'm here at the garden's Hardscape exhibit, where we show a variety of different hardscape materials that could be used in your landscape. Hardscape makes an excellent addition to a landscape because it requires no maintenance, no water, and doesn't even grow weeds. Hardscape is a great choice for adding functionality and usability to a landscape through gathering areas like decks, patios, or gazebos. If you want to see different types of hardscape materials and how they look, check out the Hardscape exhibit here at the garden. Welcome to the garden's neighborhood path. This is one of the original sections of the garden, and here you can find 6 different unique examples of water efficient landscaping designed to meet different priorities, needs, and styles. As you walk through the neighborhood path, you can orient yourself by looking for one of the arbors that represents the home in the landscape.
Of course, everywhere you turn in the Conservation Garden Park are awesome planting beds. Our team makes sure that everything is watered with drip irrigation and a heavy coat of mulch to help keep the weeds down. People often ask whether or not we use weed barrier fabric in the garden, and the answer is absolutely not. It doesn't really prevent weeds long term, and it can't do anything for you that a heavy coat of mulch won't also do in planting beds, and do it better. Throughout the Conservation Garden Park, not only do we have great plantings, but also we demonstrate plants by purpose. Whether it's a visit to the fragrance garden, the succulent garden that you see here behind me, or any of the other unique niche gardens within our garden that might better fit your circumstances. As you might be able to hear, the Pollinators and Paths exhibit is one of the most popular in the garden, at least with the birds, bees, and butterflies. This garden contains everything they need for food, water, shelter, and it's abuzz with activity. It also has different styles of paths. Our goal in the garden is to show you all kinds of options that might work for your home. So don't just look at the beautiful plants when you're in here, look at your feet too.
There's always so much to do when you visit the garden. Right now we're in the Education Center, where we teach landscaping classes on plants, irrigation, and how to design your own landscape. Also, when you come into the Education Center, you can ask some of the questions that you might have when you visit the garden. Also, our employees can help you find garden maps and landscape designs that we have to help you with your own landscape. Thank you for joining us for this virtual tour of Conservation Garden Park. We hope to see you in person in the future. You can find more resources on conservationgardenpark.org. On the website, you can find our plant database, landscape design examples, our YouTube videos, and you can also sign up for classes.